Hi everyone, my name is Angelica, and today's webinar is going to be on internet safety, specifically on how to spot scams. So, just as a quick overview for what we're going to be going over today, I'm going to be talking about what online scams are, how to spot scams, and what to do if you've been scammed or you think you're being scammed. So, we're going to get into what online scams are. To directly quote Wikipedia, internet fraud is a type of cybercrime, fraud, or deception which makes use of the internet and could involve hiding of information or providing incorrect information for the purpose of tricking victims out of money, property, and inheritance. So, just for some statistics to show what effect scams have, over $6.9 billion were lost to internet crimes in 2021. 847,376 internet crime complaints were filed in 2021, and 32,400 complaints in 21 were related to cryptocurrency. So now I'm going to get into how to spot scams. So there are multiple different types of scams that you may encounter, and the first one is called tech support scams. These are when people or pop-ups will try to convince you that there's something wrong with your device, and they will demand for you to pay or input information in order for these problems to be fixed. So for some tips to avoid tech support scams, one of them involves watching out for urgent pop-ups. So these may randomly pop up on your device and try and make you panic and urgently call a number or click a link or input information. But real security warnings will never ask you to do these kind of things. And if you think there is an actual issue with your device, it's best to update your security software and run a virus scan first instead of going through these different methods that the pop-ups are trying to get you to do. So, some more tips include investigating the company. If there's a company name or phone number shown, you can look it up on Google with the word scam or complaint. And if this company has a history of being untrustworthy, you'll be able to find that online and know you shouldn't do anything with it. Um, if you do want tech support, you should do your own separate research away from the pop up and use a company you know you can trust. You can also avoid unusual payment methods. If the company wants you to pay with odd payment methods like gift cards or money transfers, these it's most likely a scam, and you should only use those methods with people you trust, like your friends or family. So these are some examples of what tech support scams might look like. On the left shows what it might look like on a Mac or iOS device, and on the right is what it might look like on through Microsoft Windows. And generally, you should be able to just like X out of these pop-ups, and nothing bad will happen. The next kind of scam are called romance scams, and this is when people, this is like done over a long period of time, but people may try to form connections with you to make them trust you, but then in the future, they might try and get you to give them money. Over $200 million were reported to be lost to romance scams in 2019 alone. Some tips for avoiding romance scams include watching out for sudden urgency. If the person you're talking to suddenly starts asking for money because of an emergency or anything like that, that's a pretty big red flag. It's also good to do a search on the person you're talking to. Many scammers will try and create fake personas using fake pictures and fake names so that if you do end up getting scammed, it will be harder to trace the incident back to the real person. So if you're able to do research on the person's pictures that they're using or their name and just verify that the person is who they say they are, that's a good idea. And then you should also say no to gift cards if you are in a situation where you do want to give the person a gift, but they're only like demanding gift cards or money transfers. That is a pretty big red flag and probably means that the person you're talking to is trying to scam you. So the next type of scam is called good news scams. And this is when someone is trying to make you believe that you've won something that sounds most likely too good to be true, like a lot of money or a really nice vacation. But if you want to claim it, you're going to have to pay money or give them your personal information. Some tips to avoid good news scams includes asking a trusted advisor for help, which this one can also apply to any of the kinds of scams. If you think you're being scammed, but you can't really tell, it's always a good idea to ask a family member or a friend or anyone trustworthy and see what they think. Some more tips include getting more info about the prize. You can look up the contest or sweepstakes that's being shown to you. And if there's no evidence online that um, this contest actually exists, then it probably means it's something that someone made up to try and scam you. And then it's also good to not pay for anything that they ask for. Um, what they're asking for might seem like a small price for the bigger prize, but you may pay for whatever they're asking for and you might not even get a prize in the end. You might just end up losing money or your information. And then these are some examples of good news scams. On the left is a pop up saying that the person won an $1,000 Amazon gift card, and the person only has 4 minutes and 14 seconds to claim your prize. And if you don't put in information or pay the price, then you're going to lose the prize. Urgency is definitely a good sign that whatever you're seeing is a scam. On the right is another example, but through a text message, someone is posing as a lottery company and they told the person that they want a prize, but in order to get it, they have to provide a lot of sensitive information that you shouldn't be sharing with people that are strangers on the internet and that you don't trust. So the last kind of scams are called bad news scams, and this is when someone is posing as a really important company, like a government agency or a bank, and they're trying to make you believe that something bad is going to happen to you if you don't do X, Y, and Z. Some ways to avoid this are to ask clarifying questions, take control of the situation. If you're talking to someone and they're getting mad at you or impatient because you're not giving them information, or if they won't ask you, or if they won't answer your questions or are trying to avoid your questions, that is a big sign that they're probably a fraud. It's also good to check with the organization directly. Don't use anything that the thing that looks like a scam is trying to get you to use. Go online and try to get a phone number directly from the organization's official website and try and contact them and see if what you're getting is legit. And then it's also good to not agree to odd payments. Again, you should never try and pay someone with an odd payment like a gift card or money transfer. Legit organizations are going to ask for more professional ways of payment like credit cards or checks. And then these are, again, some examples of some bad news scams. On the left is an email that looks like it's from Netflix. It's trying to say that if you don't validate your information, um, your account is going to be suspended and you won't be able to use it anymore. And then on the right, it's kind of the same situation, but from a bank that someone's trying to take money from your account. And if you don't input your information, they're not going to be able to help you. So, just for some general red flags that you could end up seeing on like any of these scams that I explained, include threats like the one we just heard, something along the lines of we're going to seize your accounts. Again, something bad is going to happen to you if you don't do X, Y, and Z. Secrets are also a red flag if they're trying to keep the exchange between the two of you a secret, like telling you things like don't tell anyone about this. That's a pretty big red flag. If there's a lot of urgency, like if someone's saying you must act immediately, or if over text there's a lot of caps locks and exclamation points, that's a big sign. If someone calls you and it's an automated voice, like it doesn't sound like a human is trying to talk to you, that's also a sign that someone's trying to scam you. And then again, suspicious payment methods, like if someone's trying to get you to pay through a gift card or money transfer, that's also a big red flag. So now I'm going to get into what to do if scammed or if you think you're being scammed. And just as a note to start, just because you receive an email or a phone call from a scammer, it doesn't immediately mean that your personal information has been compromised. So you don't have to panic immediately. If you ignore these like emails or phone calls, delete them, not interact with them, you should be fine and you shouldn't have to worry about it. Although, if you do end up doing one of those actions or clicking on any links that you weren't supposed to, your information may have been compromised, and that's when you start taking steps toward trying to reverse that action. So, if you get scammed with money, like if you end up sending money to someone and you realize that you've been scammed, there's multiple ways to try and fix that situation depending on how you sent the money. If you sent money through a bank, then you can immediately report the situation to your bank's fraud department. If you sent money through mail, you can call your National Postal Inspection Service. If you do end up sending money through mail, it's always good to keep the tracking number so you can refer that back to the service. And then if you sent money through a gift card, you can contact the gift card issuer and check the card packaging for fraud contact info. And then if you've fallen victim to a scam in the US specifically, it's good to report incidents of fraud, which is money lost to a scam, to these numbers. And then you can also report the situation to the Federal Trade Commission at those links. And then if you fall victim to mail fraud, you can report it to the US Postal Inspection Service. And you will have access to these slides. So if you ever need this information, you can always come back and go through these links and get their phone numbers. And then if you fall in victim to a scam in Canada, you can call those numbers and you can also report it to the Competition Bureau at the link. And then, as a note to remember, it's important to not feel ashamed to report any incidents that may happen to you because your information can help future victims that may encounter the same scam. Then, if you ever want more resources to read more about scams, there are some websites and links for you to go through if you want to. And then now I'll be conducting a live demo of this website called Scam Spotter. It's run by Google and it just has a lot of information on scams and goes through what I just went through. And then I'll just show you a bit of how to navigate this site. So if you come up here to this home tab, you're brought to this page. And if you scroll down a bit, There are some educational videos, really short and easy to watch that you can look at to get more educated on scams. And then if you ever want to go through the information really quickly again that I just went through, you can come up here to the scams tab. And when you scroll down a bit, it will name each kind of scam, like the tech support scams here, for example. You scroll down a little bit, it will tell you what the scam is, and then it will show you again the tips for trying to avoid and spot the type of scam. Then if you keep going down, the other scams are below it, like romance scams, bad news scams, etc. Then if you come up here to the About tab, it will give you some more information on scams, some statistics. If you scroll down, you can see those there. If you scroll down a little more, it gives you a list of some more trusted resources that you can go through again if you ever need more information on scams or want to read more about them. You can go through these. And then under the last tab is the quiz section where it kind of just tests your knowledge on the different types of scams. It will give you a scenario and you will have to vote or guess whether it's safe or a scam, and then you will see if you're correct.